Fantasy Football. It's your friend, the Fat Boy here. We're here. We're living. We're big dogging it out here. Just had ankle surgery, so now we're getting back into the grind of things for the mock draft season of fantasy football. I'm here with the good old man Xavier. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good, doing good.
So yeah, as I mentioned, had ankle surgery, so we're out here recovering, staying laid up with my leg up, playing college football 25.
Out here
Taking my team to the
recovering.
national championship with my running back averaging 400 yards a game, but some slight work, no reaction. But what you been up to, X? How you been?
Good, just chilling. Trying to grind out Dynasty during the summer. That's the only thing you can do is just sit back and grind out sending stuff for a third or second, grinding the edges.
Don't even get me started on dynasty football. Apparently, I build too good of a team, and it makes leagues want to quit. So, um, it's the price that you have to pay. Whenever you play with experienced players, that stuff kind of happens. But we're out here, we're living. Today, we are going to talk about draft strategy for this upcoming redraft season, and then also go ahead and do a live draft as well while we are on the call here today.
hmm
Um, but how are you feeling? Like, what is your strategy going into this year? Say if you have like a top four pick.
Top four pick. Definitely going wide receiver with the top four pick, but at the same time, I'm not going into a draft thinking I'm gonna do this strategy no matter what because you don't know how the board's gonna fall. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Christian McCaffrey falls to the fourth pick. I mean, I know he's like going through a little calf strain or whatever right now, but like my rule is, if you're gonna practice three of the last four full practices, then I'll do it. But if Christian McCaffrey falls to me at the four, then yeah, I'm gonna take him at the four. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm gonna play the board and do my strategy as I go. Strategy is subject to change. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
go one track minded because it's that can mess you up. It really can.
Right. Well, yeah, that's a very important topic to bring up. So you could plan to go in there. It's like, hey, I'm gonna do the zero RB strat. I'm not taking a running back till the sixth round, but everybody's taking wide receivers at that point, and you somehow have Brees Hall falling to the second round. If you don't smash Brees Hall at the pick like 205,
Yeah,
you're you're done at that point. Like,
losing.
yeah, you're literally missing out on potentially RB1 upside per se. Me personally, if I have a top four pick, I might be more inclined to go hero RB per se. If McCaffrey does fall, let's say like to the 104, I might take him. But if he's gone, I might end up actually taking Brees Hall at that 104 pick, just because I can have that RB1 slot filled to where it's just I don't have to worry about it. I could let him handle out there, then fill out all my rest of the positions. And then if I do end up going wide receiver, uh, I'll usually go wide receiver the first 2 or 3 rounds, and then from there, kind of see what's best available. I mean, if I'm like 309 and Josh Allen's still there, I might consider taking a quarterback. Uh, I believe a tight end, whoever picks the first tight end, kind of ends up losing, especially if you take like Laporta at the 204. It's like it's a little bit early unless you're playing in a tight end premium league.
Yeah, definitely.
But I I'm more inclined to take someone like Trey McBride this year than I would Laporta or even Travis Kelsey. I think Travis Kelsey is overrated or not overrated. Let me reevaluate that. Overvalued this point for mock drafts. I mean, we saw what he did last year. I think he was still like tight end 3, but he wasn't giving you that 4 or 5 extra points a game compared to tight end 2,
hmm
which is what made him so valuable 2 years ago, I guess you could say. But for you personally, like no matter what, are you looking at trying to go to a zero RB strat no matter what part of the draft you're in? Of course, if everyone takes wide receiver in front of you, you're probably going to end up changing and taking a running back. But
Yeah, I mean, ideally, it's just a fact that running backs get injured more than wide receivers,
mhm,
and only a handful of running backs returned value last year in the first 2 rounds. Some crazy statistic that
Hmm.
I just have to read again, but it was what I sent you. But I mean, it's just a fact. So it's just hard to think about a running back in the, especially if it's like Travis Etienne. You're
Hmm.
like at that position. You're like, dang, do I really want to take Travis Etienne over like Devonte Adams or Drake London,
Hmm.
or should I take Zamir White later, who might see similar workload? You know,
Hmm.
so
A little more riskier play, but I mean, whenever he was, in that full time role, whenever Jacobs was hurt, he was bell cow running back potential. So
hmm
that's someone that I'm actually really trying to target in the later part of the draft, like fifth, sixth, seventh round, is someone like a Zamir White. But with that being said, when would you try to take a quarterback?
I think this is the year to wait. Unless you get a crazy value on Josh Allen or Hurts, I think this is the year
Hmm.
to wait. Last year, the year before that, even the year before that, I waited, and well, not last year, but 2 years ago, I waited and I got like Derek Carr, and he freaking burned me. And Darren Waller, I paired him up. I was like, dude, this is gonna be crazy. I'm gonna have a crazy, you know. But no, they burned me. But this year in particular, we have really good. I don't know what it is, but quarterback twos are like so. Like you can get Jordan Love in like the ninth, 10th round. Like I've mocked numerous times. It's getting pretty crazy. You can get Purdy pretty much in the in the 11th, 12th.
Hmm.
Crazy val. Like this is the year to wait on quarterback. I think.
Well, yeah, sleeper ADP has Purdy at pick 98. So if you're doing a 12-man draft, that's about the ninth round there. But even then, like you have Caleb Williams at 102, who's looking really good. Kyler Murray at pick 83 could end up being a great value there. Or even if you want to wait on someone like Jaden Daniels and still get that rushing upside with Washington,
Yep.
he's going at pick 115,
hmm
and that's 10th round, 11th round pick himself. So that's if you want to wait, this might be the year to potentially do it. But I believe that in order to win a fantasy football championship, unless you absolutely smash on your wide receivers or running backs, you do need to have that QB1 upside play no matter what happens. Because if you have that QB1, a running back one, and a wide receiver one, it's kind of hard to get beat at that point.
Yeah.
If you got someone turning in, top five, top 10 weeks every week, then you're kind of balling out uncontrollably per se at that point.
Yep.
And then, like with the tight end spot, how are you approaching tight ends this year?
Um, man, really, I'm just going value everywhere. I'm just, I'm tired of like thinking about strategy and
Hmm.
this, that, and the other, and then actually getting in a draft and being like, damn, everything just went out the window because that
Hmm.
person went before and that person went after and this person went that place. And so there's really just people I like looking for.
Hmm. Who
Even
are your
before,
targets then?
yeah, I was about to say my favorite target has been George Kittle even before Brandon Ayuk. All this trade buzz, but
Hmm.
if Brandon Ayuk gets, if Brandon Ayuk goes, and I've seen, man, George Kittle's been going pretty late, and I've really liked it. Um,
His ADP is 60 right now, so he's basically the 4 or 5 turn.
yep, and I like Evan Ingram. Like if he gets 90 targets next year, I think that's pretty good. I like Njoku. Um, there's been a lot of buzz around him for camp. Like
Hmm.
Deshaun Watson's been targeting him a lot. Um, Ferguson, even Goddard. Kellen Moore going over there uh, in Philadelphia. They targeted tight end a lot when Kellen Moore was in Dallas. So I'm
Hmm.
liking Dallas Goddard a lot as like a comeback player type thing. Even if you like punt tight end and you can get T.J. Hawkinson, stream tight end with like Pat Fryermuth. Arthur Smith is in Pittsburgh, hoping they throw it to tight end a bunch, and then
Darnell Washington's the tight end to get because Arthur Smith
yeah,
loves his backups. Okay.
the backups. But yeah, I mean, and for whatever reason, people are fading Mark Andrews this for redraft. I don't know why, but it's whatever.
Hmm.
Cool.
But like, especially with you hitting on Ingram last year, he had 140 targets last year, and they don't have Calvin Ridley now.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying. If it's at least 90 targets next year, like,
he was
or
tight end
90,
too, and
sorry,
he's going.
I think I said 90. I mean 90 receptions.
Okay, let's say he had 140 targets last year, so I don't know why you're trying
Yeah,
to go down to 90 targets, but
I meant 90
uh,
receptions.
yeah, I mean last year his splits was 143 targets, 114 receptions, 900 yards, and 4 touchdowns,
Yeah, that's good.
and that was good for tight end too.
Yep.
So Ingram I like a lot. If McBride's a reasonable price, I wouldn't mind taking him somewhere in the fourth round. But with tight end, that's one of the positions that if you don't get one of those, say, top four tight ends, I'd probably end up punting it because those middle of
Yeah.
the pack tight ends are going to like tight end 7 to tight end 14 is going to be just about the same for the most part usually. So then we'll take a later shot on someone like Goddard or Dalton Schultz, even though
Yep.
that's crowded, or even Ben Sinnott in the last couple of rounds.
Well, apparently, I read a report today that
Mm-hmm.
Ben Sinnott's tight end 3 on the unofficial depth chart, but
Well, I mean,
yeah,
all
who
the
knows?
rookies on the Broncos depth chart were the last in their position just because they were rookies, but even Bo Nix, everyone's freaking out about that and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
we'll see. And then even like if you want to take a handcuff, like if you got Mandrews, take Likely.
Yeah. Yep.
If Mark Andrews gets hurt, Likely's going to give you 20 points a game. So, but I'm excited to see this football season. Um, what other kind of tidbits of advice do you have? Like, who else are you? Who's kind of like your later round targets? I guess you could say.
Ooh, this is this is where it gets deep. Cause hey, last year I called out Devon A. Chain. Remember in redraft, I was like, bro, A. Chain.
I called Puka.
You
I'm just
called
saying.
Puka. You did in every dynasty league. You called Puka. Every single one. Um, let's see. Man,
Let's just say like pick
going down.
100 or later.
Pick 100 or later.
So these are going to be like your eighth, ninth round, beginning of the ninth round, we'll say picks.
I think this is when you can start doing dart throws.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like Romeo Dobbs, Curtis Samuel. I think Curtis Samuel will have a big year. Not saying that he's going to be,
Mm-hmm.
the best for years to come, but
He could be a decent wide receiver too for you. Because at this point,
yeah,
you're just trying to you're drafting your wide receiver 4, hoping they could give you wide receiver 3 numbers.
exactly.
Like you're not
Um,
needing a home run swing on any of these players, but
don't forget he was, well, wide receiver 21 last year. Is that even correct?
yeah, he played well, but he
24.
keeps getting drafted, super late. I don't know
That's
what
what
it
it
is. He
was.
gets drafted like wide receiver 44,
Yep.
but
Um,
Jacoby Myers will play too.
apparently Ricky, well, his draft stock's going to go up if Ayuk gets traded.
Mm-hmm.
Re-aggravated shoulder injury 3 hours ago. Left practice early. Debo Samuel will be bumped up to round 2
Mm-hmm.
if Brandon Ayuk goes wherever he goes. I hope he goes somewhere where the offense isn't good.
McCaffrey will become banned if Ayuk leaves. But
um, I really more so like the running back values more than the wide
mm-hmm.
receiver values.
I mean, Trey
Um,
Benson's a great running back to potentially pick up after pick 100,
yeah,
especially with James Conner always somehow straining some kind of muscle, getting some kind of injury. Trey Benson can fill in pretty well.
I really like Raheem Mostert this year.
King Haim,
I really like that. What was he? He was like a
running back
wide.
2, I think.
Yeah, he was freaking crazy last year, dude.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Uh, Chase Brown could be a good value for you, depending
Yep.
on. We'll see if he goes up after the training camp and the preseason. Or
Go.
Blake Corum, if you want to talk about another running back, if you draft Kyron Williams, you better draft Blake Corum because Kyron
Yeah.
Williams is gonna miss time,
Yeah.
and if he misses time, Blake Corum is going to be the bell cow running back, and you better have him on your team too.
Yep. Yes, he will.
You need that insurance plan if you're drafting Kyron Williams. I am emphasizing that. If you have Kyron, get Blake Corum too.
Yep. It's getting there. It's getting like that in the NFL. You gotta, as a manager, you gotta start treating these positions like real GMs do, like real teams do.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to
Chuba
get
could
like
be a
that.
good early season target before
Yes, very good.
Jonathan Brooks comes in and starts taking some of that workload. Especially if Chuba has like a 20, 30 point game, I would sell him at that point
Yes,
because that's going to
yes.
be his peak moment. Like, I don't draft players to sell them, but if I know someone's got someone in the backfield that could potentially take work from them, like Chuba with the Jonathan Brooks, and if I take him, I'm going to trade him as soon as he has a pop off game.
Yep,
As soon as something happens, I'm trading him because I'm going to try to get
yep,
someone that doesn't know that Jonathan Brooks is going to be back week 4 and then be like, oh, my bad. Didn't mean to screw you there. Should have done your homework. That's not my fault.
yep. Another thing is, I did a mock draft the other day, and um, someone took Lamar Jackson in round 3, and
Mm-hmm.
then in round I think like 6 they took C.J. Stroud. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was like, "Yo, why'd you do that?" And he was like, "Oh, for like the value, like I can trade one of them." And I'm like, "Okay." I mean, like if people want to trade,
Mm-hmm.
you're there. I mean, it's not a 2 QB league. It's not gonna. I wouldn't do that personally. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not
Like
like
I,
that.
that's why I say I don't intentionally draft someone to trade them, but if I
Yeah.
do know someone's got someone coming on the pipeline per se,
Yep.
I will definitely try to look at trading them as soon as possible. Also, with the coaching change in Seattle, Zach Charbonnet I like too,
Mhm.
just due to the fact that no one has any kind of loyalty to KW3 or Zach Charbonnet. So I believe he could also be a good late round value potentially. And depending on the CD Lamb situation, you could take Brandon Cooks as a late round pick. I doubt he'll hold out like Le'Veon did. What was that, like 2016 or whatever? But if he does, you got wide receiver 1 on the Dallas Cowboys. Another running back I like is Jaleel McLaughlin from Denver. I'd rather have him than Javonte for where Javonte's priced at currently. I feel like Javonte's eventually going to be running back 2 or even 3, being the Denver fan that I am. And who else am I going to look at? Braylon Allen could be a good handcuff running back for Brees Hall.
Yep.
And then choose your poison at Chicago backup running back too. But likely I like a lot as well at tight end. And then Tyjae Spears is supposed to be the starting running back in Tennessee. But it's probably going to be like a 55-45 kind of thing. So I wouldn't take too much of that. But I'd rather have him than Tony Pollard for where Pollard's getting drafted at. Because, where is he at? Tajay Spears is 109. And Pollard's at pick 80. So with the split backfields, I'd rather take the running back that has less price.
Co-starters.
Yeah. So I'll take the 2 round discount on Tajay Spears.
Yep.
Is there any players that you are intentionally avoiding in these middle rounds, like from 4 to 8 per se?
Oh, good question. Man,
So say like pick 50 to pick 100. Is there anyone that you're deliberately trying to avoid?
let me look. Kenneth
Because
Walker,
about to
George
say,
Pickens.
Kenneth Walker is someone I'm avoiding. I think the George Pickens hype's way too high right now.
Uh, I think I might avoid Rome at that price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I,
pick
I
6
would
to 9.
I would actually take Rashid over like a lot of these players because he's not getting suspended this year, dude. It doesn't look like it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm pretty much not avoiding like I don't hate players. I hate values. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, every
Other than
player
Josh
can have a
Jacobs
good.
and Derek Carr.
Josh Jacobs and Derek Carr. It's not really a player that freaks me out. It's just the price tag that's listed on that player that'll freak me out. Just kind of like as you said, like with Zach Moss, pick 94. Kind of rough to say if he's going to be the starting running back for Cincinnati. Is he worth like a eighth round pick in your eyes? But
Yeah.
um, another person I might look at avoiding is Calvin Ridley, just because I don't see Will Levis throwing for 3,500 yards to be able to give him enough value to make sense at that price. And then DeAndre Swift at pick 66 is too dang high for me.
Yeah. I mean, I really think for DeAndre Swift that I don't think he'll get goal line carries. I think it'll be
Mm-hmm.
Roshan. He's a bigger guy. I mean, you look at him. He's 5'9". I mean, 215 is good, but like on a 5'9" frame, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I
I
don't. I
don't know.
don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. And
Can't
then
ever.
Kenneth
Can't ever say
Walker,
too
as you
much.
mentioned too. So,
Can't ever say too much.
is there? I guess the kind of last question I have before we start going into this mock draft. Do you have anyone that you are specifically trying to target in those middle rounds?
Ooh, good question. Oh, I'm sorry. One more player I'm avoiding at cost is Isaiah Pacheco. I've seen him go in round 2. What are
I
we
mean,
doing there?
his ADP is like 31, so that's middle of the third.
Like, I've seen him go round 2 in mocks like pretty consistently. It's pretty crazy. Just in my opinion. I could be wrong
Mm-hmm.
though.
Understandable. Yeah,
Okay,
he's
who am I targeting?
an
Man,
intriguing pick.
like I said, I really like Rasheed Rice. I really like that value. Nico Collins, Devontae Smith coming out of the slot and a Killenmore offense, I think is like a PPR monster.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Godwin, PPR monster slot again. Amari Cooper, I think you can get him as like, dude, you can get him pretty late and as like a wide
Mm-hmm.
receiver 3, and I think that's crazy. I think that's really good.
Scary Terry could have a really good season this year with him actually having a
Yeah,
decent quarterback.
yeah,
So, I mean, who
yep.
has he had at quarterback since he's been in the league?
And he's posted good numbers too,
I mean, he's been
even though he
consistently
hasn't.
a wide receiver too, basically,
Yep,
no matter
look
what.
at that,
And
pretty good.
you saw him cheesing, receiving a couple passes from Jaden Daniels, so
Yep,
he's happy. We'll see. We could potentially see a super late breakout. I don't know if you'd even call it a breakout because we all recognize that he's talented, but just
super late breakup.
hasn't had anyone to throw in the ball.
Uh,
Xavier Worthy can be an intriguing pick at 76 with
mhm.
having one of the best quarterbacks in the league throwing you the ball. You run a 4-2, kind of could lead to some long touchdowns there.
I like Calvin Ridley a lot this
See,
year.
we're
Um,
the complete opposite. I don't like him.
DeAndre Hopkins could return by week 1. I don't think so,
Old
but
man Hopkins.
Calvin Ridley at that price, I like a lot. He's going to be the only person to throw to on that offense. I mean, other than like Tyler Boyd underneath, but like Will Levis is going to air out that ball. He's going to throw it to Calvin Ridley. I think I like it. I think I like it.
I'm pretty skeptical myself. I like Kyler Murray in the middle rounds. I know I always make fun of you for your Kyler Murray hype, but if I could get him in the seventh round, I'm not mad at it. That could be my QB1 for the entire season.
Yeah.
Jonathan Brooks, as I kind of mentioned, he would have to probably throw him on your IR. Especially if you have an IR spot, I would highly recommend drafting Jonathan Brooks and just picking up somebody off the waiver wire.
Yep.
And Jalen Warren could still end up being running back one, and the Arthur Smith backups rule the offense. So
This is the reason why I like Calvin Ridley at this price. Callahan from the Cincinnati, from Joe Burrow. Ridley, what do you say? It's promising that Callahan, blah, 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 hopes to have Ridley mimic Chase's usage. Not saying he's as good as
mhm.
Chase, but
But having the
he's going to
25% target share,
got only 22% of his targets in between the numbers. Um, But I mean, there's no one else in that offense. I mean, if DeAndre Hopkins is going to be half a man for the season, and Traylon Burks is 6'4", 200 pounds and can run a 4.4 for no reason, and
Hey, it's asthma hurts him. Okay.
and Chiggy for some reason is like not playing anymore, then I don't know. I don't know. And Will Levis can throw a damn good deep ball, man. I saw a video and I was like, wow, that was beautiful. But training camp's training camp.
Right. I mean, I saw a video of all three Cowboys quarterbacks missing a corner basket
Yeah, I
on a
saw that.
throw-in drill.
Like,
Only one
yeah,
who made them
cut
was
them
Cooper
all.
Rush.
Cut them all.
But let's go ahead and get started with this mock draft. I'm here at the second pick. Xavier's at the 11th pick. Let's kind of talk about our mindsets behind who we're picking. And we probably won't talk about too much of what's getting picked in between. If something does come up where we're like, well, I was targeting this person, then, you know, team 7 sniped them from me. But
Yep.
uh, we won't get too in depth on it.
Yep.
But with
Yeah,
that being
we'll
said,
we'll have some people join in here. I just sent it in like a mock uh type
draft.
forum. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
type forum thing on Sleeper. So it should be trickling in here. I'll just start it right when it gets full. If people start leaving in the middle of the draft, that's fine. I didn't want to automatic. I didn't want a CPU pick every single one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not getting accurate readings. It's just going right down the list.
Mm-hmm. Is there anyone in the top 3 rounds that scares you a little bit while we're waiting on people to
Yeah.
join in?
So top 3 rounds scares me a little bit.
Stephon Diggs scares me a lot at pick 30.
Yeah. Here's the thing though, is like I heard someone. It does scare me too. Stephon Diggs does scare me. Another thing I heard though was Stephon Diggs is gonna cry if he doesn't get the ball like he did in.
Buffalo.
Yeah, and I think they knew that getting him. I think they knew.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he has like kind of an attitude problem, and if he doesn't get the ball, then he's gonna complain. So, you know,
Say Josh Jacobs scares me a little bit too at pick 27, basically at the 2-3 turn.
he's always scared me, brother. Join the club. Travis Etienne scares me. Devon A. Chain, I like that. Derrick Henry, I like that price point. Um, DJ Moore, I really like it now because of the new
Mm-hmm.
contract. And it's kind of scary. I think the new contract for me was a little scary just because, Roma Dunze and DJ Moore. And it's like, dang, Roma Dunze might be just a wide receiver too. But
Mm-hmm.
who knows? Maybe he'll be a wide receiver. Who knows? Who knows?
Could be a Batman or a 1A and 1B kind of
Yeah.
situation.
Um, I think we get one more year of Rashad White. I think we
Mm-hmm.
do. Malik Neighbors. One thing that does scare me, I forgot to mention up here, is Marvin Harrison. I think it's just, it's the highest it's a rookie has ever been,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Drafted in
yeah,
the.
80. Yeah, it's just, but it's warranted. I think it is
Okay.
warranted, but it's also scary.
Yeah, so it's like whenever Zeke was getting drafted, like in the top 6 picks his rookie year, I was like, "Whew,
All
I
right,
don't know
let's
about that
start.
one, Chief." But as I mentioned, I'm pick 2. Xavier's pick 11. First pick was CMC as kind of expected. I like the deep threat more of Tyreek Hill than CD Lamb, so I'm gonna go ahead and take Tyreek Hill.
I was gonna say, I think I'm just a tad bit worried about Tyreek Hill just because of the age,
Mm-hmm.
and he's more of a fast twitch type of guy, and that's the first thing that goes with age. I'm gonna turn off this sound. Um, like a hammy blows out, and then it's just
Mm-hmm.
over. It's just
Right.
over. But you never know. Guys are guys nowadays in the NFL taking care of their bodies more than ever.
Mm-hmm. There's a
So
lot more research done
yeah,
to where people can rupture their Achilles in training camp and come back by the playoffs at this point. It's crazy.
I mean,
Rest
Cam
in peace,
Akers
Cam
came back.
Akers. Let's
Where Cam Akers came back from two of those, so that's crazy.
say RIP Cam Akers. I had to drop him in all my dynasty leagues. Finally had
Right.
to pull the plug. My baby girl's done.
Pull the plug. Hey, I saw him in the preseason game. He looked good. Oh no, he did
I don't
look
want to
good.
talk about it.
You go ahead and pick him up.
No. I'm not picking him up again. I don't
Oh
care if he
man,
scores 30 points and no one picks him up the next week. I'm still not picking him up.
this is where I get iffy. This is where I get iffy. I'm like, damn. I'm like, damn.
I say, do you take running back or wide receiver here? So here's another question that I have for you while we're waiting for these picks to come in. Where do you think the hero RB tier drops? Like, who is the last RB you think that could carry your team if you did
Devon
go
A.
with the
Chan.
hero RB? So let's just kind of go down the list. We got CMC, of course. Bijan, yes. Brees Hall, yes. Jameer Gibbs, high touchdown upside. I'd probably still keep him as a hero RB. JT, hero. Saquon's a little scary just because of the tush push.
He's also about to be 28.
Um, Kyron Williams, I feel like he could be if he could stay healthy all 17 games. But we saw even with his workload, he started falling apart by the end of the season.
Well,
Uh, ETN, I'm about to say Trevor Etienne because I've been playing so much college football, but Travis Etienne, um, he could do it, but they keep talking about how they're going to reduce his workload, which could, of course, make him a more effective runner, but could also lead to uh, less carries, which could, of course, lead to less points at that point. And then you have Devon Achan. He already said that he could be a hero RB for him. Derrick Henry, would you let him be your hero? I could be your hero, baby.
I'd be a little skeptical, but like I said, I mean, he might be 30 going on 31, but like we just
Well,
talked about, people are always, NFL players are always, doing the most for their bodies, spending thousands, millions of dollars on their bodies per year.
he's also
So
6'2", 250, so he's not a
it's
normal
a
runner.
different beast. It's a different beast. So you never know.
And then I think after Derrick Henry is where it kind of falls off to where it gets a little sketchy if you are trying to do the hero RB strat. Because after Derrick Henry, you got Josh Jacobs,
Yep.
Pacheco, as you mentioned. I think Rashad White could have a chance to another like
Yeah.
top 5 RB. I don't see him being RB1 by any means,
Hmm.
but he did get a lot of backfield or reception work. I don't know why I was trying to say backfield work. Reception work last year. Had 64 receptions for 550 yards, as well as 990 rushing yards, so 270 carries. But usually after a 300 touch season, a lot of players do start falling apart. At my pick, I have the option of Drake London, Laporta, Josh Allen, and Ayuk. I
Your
don't
pick.
know. Yeah, I
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
I'll probably just take Drake London just to be the safe pick.
Yeah. That guy who took Chris Olave in front of Drake London, I would want Drake London, and that's too early on Laporta in my opinion. But
Mm-hmm. I mean, his ADP right now is like 18, 19 for Laporta. So unless you're doing
nah.
a tight end premium league, it's kind of skeptical. Someone took Jalen Hurts as QB1. I find that interesting. I could go ahead and cash in my early pick and take me my QB1, which I think I might end up doing just Josh Allen just to secure that spot for the rest of the year. So now I try to worry about picking up a quarterback for what, week 12?
Let's see how far Brandon Ayuk goes. Wow.
Team 3 likes their running back slot, apparently. They got CeeDee Lamb, then they got 2 running backs of Pacheco and Jacobs. 2 players that Xavier said he hates. So
Thanks for pointing that out.
you're welcome. Just had to lob that out there real quick. And there goes Ayuk at
There you go.
pick 28.
Okay. Olave Collins. He could have had London Collins. Bijan London Collins. I think I would have liked that.
So he might have not wanted London just because he already had Bijan,
Yeah. Just because of the correlation.
but he still drafted Olave, who also has a bye week, week 12, anyways. But you know, no one knows. But what do you think is the ceiling for Drake London if Kirk Cousins and or Michael Penix can play at that, say, QB1 fantasy level?
His ceiling. Man, it's hard. It's hard to project because you haven't seen anything. So
Because in his first two seasons, he's been wide receiver 31 and 37, and now he's going as like wide receiver 12, 13 ish.
Yeah.
110 targets at least, 13 yards per catch, but only 6 touchdowns combined his first 2 years. So it's a little sketch per se, but I mean, I could see him being.
He
That's
just
where
needs
I'm
a bit
kind
of
of
auto.
skeptical on Drake London at this point. It's just that I feel like you might be drafting him at his ceiling at wide receiver 12 or 13.
I'm really liking DJ Moore there, like a big play breaker. Or, you know what
Hmm.
I mean?
He could go nuclear for a week.
Yep. He should. Oh, why he should have gone Travis Kelsey there for the.
The stack.
But if you're gonna let me take Travis Kelsey in the fourth, I'm not gonna say no.
But as I was saying about Drake London, I feel like you're drafting him at his peak at this point, so I'm not sure if I would take him in like a normal draft. I'm just kind of experimenting per se. But it's a little sus in my opinion. What about Michael Pittman? Where do you see him falling to, or where do you see his ceiling at?
I think he's already met his ceiling. That's just me though.
At wide receiver 13,
Yeah.
150 targets, 100 receptions, 1,100 yards. If he could go turn those 4 touchdowns to or 10 touchdowns, I mean that's 300-point season.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
pretty good.
touchdowns are, they're like random.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that'd be great. I would like that.
So don't tell Deontay Johnson that because he had that one year where he had like 90 receptions and no touchdowns.
Yeah. That's the year I had him in my league. I was like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, especially if Anthony Richardson stays healthy, I feel like that would open up the passing attack a little bit more. But Anthony Richardson needs to learn how to slide or to get out of bounds because he will get light up like a Christmas tree. I'm curious to see where Kenneth Walker goes at this point.
Now, I do agree with you on something you said. I don't remember when, maybe a week or two ago, that they're mainly going to break Kelsey out for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be on a pitch count till then.
I wouldn't say a pitch count, but I just don't see him having those that year or 2 years ago whenever he had like 20, 25 points a game. But he'll give you, respectable top 5 numbers, but he's not going to be taking over the league by any means.
Yep. But I'll
And
take
then,
him in the fourth. I'll take him there.
I mean, I'll take Trey McBride in the fourth too.
I would too.
You like that deal? That's a dang good deal. Is there any QBs that you're wanting to avoid this year potentially?
You said QBs?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Man. I don't know. I like them all pretty much
I feel
for
like at
redraft.
this point, Joe Burrow is just like an injury waiting to happen. So
Yeah, dude, like for real. Man cannot stay healthy.
I'm a little scared. Then, like, if you are doing a two QB league, we'll see how the increased beef up front per se with the Panthers does. But I'm a little skeptical of Bryce Young if you are drafting him as his QB2. Because he had, I think, 65 sacks last year, and of course, more quarterback hits on top of that.
Yeah.
Um, but he's usually probably going to be a non-factor in single QB or non-superflex leagues, unless that's a spot start for whenever your quarterback's on a bye or if someone does get hurt. But QB wise, Kind of a little sketch on Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I actually I think I agree with you on that because now that I think about it, I have every mock I've done, I've skipped out on Burrow. I've not drafted Burrow once, and I've probably done like at least 50 mocks,
Or
redraft
like
mocks.
it's like here's what also scares me about like quarterbacks like C.J. Stroud or Patrick Mahomes drafting them earlier is that you're not unless they throw for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns, they're not going to have a top five QB season in most cases.
Yeah.
So if you are going to draft a running or not running back, sorry, quarterback early, draft a running quarterback is what I was trying to say because that's how you get that upside potential of like the smash picks. Like whenever Jalen Hurts' rookie year, whenever he was playing, I drafted him in like the 10th round and ended up winning the league because I had a top 10 quarterback that I drafted round 11.
Mhm.
So if you are going to wait on quarterback, make sure you draft a running quarterback like a Kyler Murray,
Yep.
um, Caleb Williams potentially. Jaden Daniels could be end up being a league winner. And even like I'd be okay with getting someone like Jared Goff super late. He won't run, but he's going to throw you 4,000 yards.
He will. He will. Someone tried to convince me that Jared Goff wasn't a good fantasy QB, and I was like, "What do you mean, dude? He was QB 7 last year."
So he was 7 last
Like,
year and 10 the
what?
year before that.
What are you talking about? Not a good fantasy quarterback, dude. Get out of here. All right. See, I think this is where I take. See, I like Terry McLaurin at this
Mm-hmm.
price. I think I'd take Terry McLaurin over everyone here. Keenan
Mm-hmm.
Allen, injury, Christian Kirk. I don't even know. Quarterback is a
Christian,
little wonky,
let's say Christian Kirk is someone that I could see having a little nice season per se.
but we're gonna take Terry McLaurin there because I like that a lot.
Because with
Why am I on auto? Why am I on auto pick? Get it off.
Christian Kirk, someone I could definitely see having a great season, especially with Calvin Ridley being gone. It's like 100 plus targets being vacated at this point. The only person they've came in to replace him is Brian Thomas
Yep.
or in Gabe
And
Davis.
God, I really didn't.
So now you're in round 6. Do you take a fifth wide receiver?
Let's see my roster. It's a pretty good roster, but I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go A Rich here, dude.
Get that QB1 upside potentially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whenever he played, he was a QB1. He only played for 4 weeks, but dang it, those 4 weeks he was great.
Wasn't I wasn't looking at him at all the whole time, but I'll take him.
I mean, he had
That guy chose
100,
two tight ends. Kind of weird, but
he
I
had
get it.
145 rushing yards in his first 3 games, basically. Sorry, 136 rushing yards. My bad, math is off. But he's worth the upside shot. The home run swing. I mean, he's also got Shane Steichen, who developed Jalen Hurts too. So
Exactly.
could see a nice little system built around him. A lot of short passes, a lot of read options. If he can just stay healthy, he'll be a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion, for fantasy purposes.
Yep.
Just who's going to outrush him? And also for my
Lamar.
14, 16 team leader or players, Justin Fields might end up being a good late pick.
Yeah.
Especially if you're drafting now, you might as well take the shot on him and see if he starts. And if he does start, then you got like a 10 round discount on him. Because I feel like as soon as if he becomes starting quarterback of the Steelers, he'll end up being like a 9th round pick. I'm just saying, could be worth a shot.
Don't shoot the messenger.
But with my fifth pick, I did take Joe Mixon. He's someone that I could see having potential back end RB1 type season. He could catch the ball, he could run the ball, but he is 28, so it is a little scary.
Missed 2 weeks now due to a hammy.
Not the hammy.
Get him off the team now.
If Jordan Addison gets suspended, are you taking him at all?
Way later, yeah.
Speaking of Jordan Addison, he just went off the board. I'll take the shot on Aaron Jones. Just give me all the old man running backs at this point.
Right.
I feel like he's someone that they could lean on early in the season while if Addison does get suspended, while he's suspended, and then also to help Sam Darnold get used to the system. Then I'm going to go ahead and take Chris Godwin here. I feel like he's going to have one of those wide receiver one type seasons potentially with him being back in the slot.
Yep.
The last time he was in the slot, I believe, was 2019, where he was wide receiver two. But of course, he was also playing with Tom Brady, I believe, that year. So take those numbers with how you want to take them. But he's also someone that's due to miss one or two games every year as well. But so far, my team is Tyreek Hill, Drake London, Josh Allen, Trey McBride, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, and Chris Godwin. So pretty elite at three positions, and then running back just kind of kicking it down the curb. Because someone's going to get hurt, and I'm going to throw all my fab at a running back. I already know it. Then also for my people that are drafting this early, and if y'all do have a defensive kicker slot, what I always recommend my friends to do if they are drafting at the beginning of August, like some psychopaths, to not draft a defense and a kicker during your draft and just hold on to two people that may or may not earn a starting job and pick up a defense and kicker just the day before the game start. There's no reason to hold on to a defense and a kicker for a month. Unless you're playing in one of the leagues where it's just crazy scoring for a defense where they get like 300 points a year. I'm in one of those leagues. Shout out to Mr. Dolfitsky, but it's kind of weird whenever I see a defense score 30 points a week. I see you going with the old man at running back here too, X.
Yes, sir.
And the young man, the Omega and the Alpha, the beginning and the end.
Gotta do
But
it to him, brother.
Xavier just took Raheem Mostert and Jonathan Brooks. What do you think's the ceiling for Raheem Mostert at this point? He was running back two last year. 0% chance that happens again.
None. But
But
if he gets me, like it says here, if they're projecting him to get 10 points, let him. Bring it here. Bring
bring
it
it
here.
here. So you'd be happy with a 200-point season?
I'm happy. More than happy.
I feel it. Yeah, there's no chance because I think like a fifth of his points were scored against Denver. RIP. Next, he scored 267 last year, and 45 of that came against Denver. So,
Didn't that
yikes.
didn't that come didn't like 50 of Devon A chance come from Denver too?
We're not going to talk about that. All right, so here in the 8th round, I got two running backs. I got three wide receivers. I could kind of pick whatever I want here. I'll go ahead and take the shot on Christian Watson. Someone said this is the best team they've ever drafted in their life. His team is Jefferson, Etienne, Cooper Cup, DK, Mark Andrews, Joe Burrow, Zamir White, and Deontay Johnson.
Not
It's
bad.
decent.
Not bad. Especially if Cooper Cup is
It is the Cooper Cup of old.
yeah. All the way back. You see that?
All,
Hey, we
all the way turned up.
we got to take their word for it. They're totally just not, saying
Not
stuff.
just preseason hype or anything.
Yeah.
And then here on the last pick of my rotation, I'm needing a running back. So I'm probably going to end up taking Jalen Warren because I feel like he's going to be the pass catching back in this Steelers offense. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of dumps.
Changing these team names.
Quitter. But I'm decent in my running back core. I got Mixon, Jones, and Warren.
I like that.
Them certified knee poppers, as someone likes to call them.
I don't know who does that. Let's see.
In the Chargers offense, are you going to try to take any shots at any of the running backs in there?
I don't know. Dynasty.
Because we know they're going to run the ball. But
Yeah.
who's going to run the ball? Is it going to be Gus? Is it going to be JK? Is it going to be Vidal? Is it going to be
No
somebody else?
freaking clue, brother. And I'm going to go with Ezekiel Elliott here. Because that backfield is wide open.
So here's my thing on the backfield for the Cowboys. I feel like Zeke's going to be the goal line back, but I feel like Rico Dowdle's going to get the between the
Boom.
20s work.
Give me Chuba.
I really think that
Here
Rico
we go.
Dowdle could have a good season this year. That's going to be a cheap price because where's Rico getting drafted at? Rico's ADP is 145, so that's the 12th round. I would take the shot on that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Apparently he's looking real good in training camp, but who doesn't? No one's going 100%.
Hey, everyone's good except for Quentin Johnson, apparently. Who's got Kyron Williams? Let's see. Sniped. Blair. I guess he really wanted Chase Brown.
JD5.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels is. I'm pretty excited to see him this year. And I'm going to take someone else's advice that they said earlier and draft Blake Corum because Kyron Williams will miss a couple of games this year. And I'm going to go ahead and take Zach Charbonnet A2 and just load up on running backs since I have a pretty good wide receiver core.
There you go.
And that's another thing, too. If you feel comfortable at your other positions, feel free to take shot at a certain position and just hope one of them pays off. Like, especially in those later rounds, as Xavier kind of mentioned, you're basically just doing a dart throw. And if one of your dart throws ends up hitting and they go from, a running back 3 to borderline running back 1, that's a league winner there, in my opinion. And if you have someone elite at a certain position, I wouldn't even take a backup. I mean, you could probably find someone on waivers for that one bye week, as I mentioned. So if you got someone like a Josh Allen, a Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, you're not going to start anybody else over them unless you somehow get QB1 and QB2.
For the first time in my life, I'm going to draft Jerry Judy.
R.I.P. Jerry Judy. He ain't dead. He just ain't with us in Denver no more.
Guess what? BAM!
Taking my advice already? That's crazy.
I got two backfields locked down all the way.
Carolina
Jeez.
and Dallas. He said, I got the starting running back no matter who starts.
I don't care who. Put a body in. We're doing it.
So I got him. Don't you worry about it, sweetheart. Yeah, his running backs are Mostert, Jonathan Brooks, Zeke, Chuba, and Rico Dowdle. And then for my last pick, um, as I kind of mentioned earlier, if CD does hold out, if you are drafting this early, I would go ahead and take the upside swing on Brandon Cooks.
That'd be such a hoe move if he actually held out for like a game or two.
I mean, hey, I'll take Brandon Cooks for 15, 18 points.
Right.
I don't need to hold
Yep.
25 from him.
And freaking Jake Ferguson with another 18 or something.
But that is the end of the draft. My team's Tyreek Hill, Drake London, Josh Allen, McBride, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Chris Godwin, Christian Watson, Jalen Warren, Blake Corum, Zach Charbonnet, and Brandon Cooks. How about you, X? What's your team looking like?
Not too bad. AJ Brown, Marvin Harrison, DJ Moore, Travis Kelsey, Terry McLaurin, A. Rich, Raheem Mostert, Jonathan Brooks, Zeke Elliott, Chuba Hubbard, Jerry Judy, just because he went somewhere new and he got like a new contract for whatever reason they signed him for a lot, and Rico Dowdle.
Well, with him still playing in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson, I think it's only enough space for one person, and that one person's Amari Cooper.
How much did they pay him again?
I'm
Some
not sure. We could look it
something
up.
he didn't something he didn't deserve. But I mean, if they paid him a lot, then they're gonna use him.
3 year, $52 million. Annual
God.
salary is 17.5.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just to catch a football. Crazy. But you got any last words for anybody? Any little pieces of advice?
Play the board. Look at the person next to you. Look at if you're on the edges, if you're the 11, or if you're the 2. Look at the board. Look at the edges. See what they have. They have okay. They just drafted 2 running backs. Go ahead and take away the wide receiver from them because they're
Mm-hmm.
probably not going to draft another running back. They're probably going to go for the wide receiver, and they'll leave you with the running back anyway. So
Yeah, that's a very wise piece of advice. If you see someone super heavy on a certain position, take the opposite because they're not going to draft that position again. If someone took 2 tight ends in the top 5 picks, they're not going to take a tight end. So you take a wide receiver, then you could get a tight end on the way back.
yep.
But besides that, that's about all that we have for you today. Feel free to give us a like, a follow, subscribe, share it with your friends. If y'all have any questions, feel free to message us. And we hope y'all have a great day. Don't party too hard. Don't get too crazy, friends.